Alrighty, so I'm going to show you how to use pencil to shade a drawing. So first thing is if you are using a mechanical pencil, you might have some difficulty shading versus if you were to use a drawing pencil or even just any pencil that you could sharpen would work better. So you'll see here that I have two different drawing pencils, and you'll notice as well that they have different numbers and they have the same letter on them. So the B basically means that it's a softer core, and that what you might call it as lead is actually graphite. The graphite in the softer core is going to be darker when you draw it on a paper. So your lines will be darker essentially. The B means that it's going to be softer. And then the numbers on there, the higher the number, the softer the pencil will be, which means the darker the line will be. So of these two, 6B is actually your darker pencil. And then if you're using a regular pencil at home, that is going to be an HB pencil, which is kind of in between a hard and a soft core. And then the H pencils, those are going to be harder cores, which means they'll draw lighter lines. So we're going to focus on B's here because we want to do some shading. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a quick example of how to shade. And I'm going to shade a little sphere. So I'm drawing in a sphere, and then I'm drawing in a little light, so you know where my light source is. And I'm going to go ahead and start shading it. So if you don't have a drawing pencil at home, you are more than welcome to just use a regular pencil. Once again, it's better if you use a pencil that can be sharpened. And I'm just going to lightly lay in some value. Now my light is over on this side here, so I do want to make sure that my brightest area of my sphere is actually near that light there. Now you'll notice that I'm not doing scribbles, that I'm being careful to make sure that I fill in the space lightly and evenly. The next thing you'll need is a paper towel. Rather than blending with your fingers, since your fingers have oils on them and you can make fingerprints, it's a good idea to put something between your finger and the paper that you're drawing on. So I like to use paper towel for this. And I just wrap a little piece of paper towel around my finger. And then I can use that to smooth the drawing, smooth that graphite. And you'll notice that I'm kind of working in a circular motion. I'm kind of following the contour, that outline of that sphere. And then I'm going to go back in with pencil and I'm going to put in another layer. Now, when you are sculpture brain, when you are shading, you want to make sure that you work in layers. That's how you get nice, smooth, even layers. And that's how you end up, too, not making really big mistakes that are hard to fix. So I'm just going to go ahead and add another layer in here. And then I'm going to take this. Once again, I'm going to go through following the contours of that sphere. And I'm just going to blend it. Once I have that in there, a sphere usually will have what's known as a core shadow going right through the ball where it transitions from being near the light to facing down near the surface of the table. So that core shadow is generally one of the darker areas of the sphere. It blocks a lot of that light. And it goes through the center. And you'll notice too that it's in a curve. It's not just a straight line across. It's curved around. And then there's also going to be some darker shadows distance away from the lights. And once again, you can see I'm not putting a ton of pressure down. That's important. I can just keep spreading that pencil around, the graphite around, until I've got something that looks round. That's what I'm aiming for, right? Now you'll notice too that I'm keeping my lines nice and close together when I am shading. Because if you do a line like this, for example, and you try to blend that out, you will notice that it doesn't matter how hard I push, those lines are still going to be there. So if you're doing a really nice job with your shading and you're keeping your pencil lines nice and close together, you should remain having a nice smooth transition, a nice smooth texture. You won't have something that looks scratchy or messy. Now, I can keep going with this. I can exaggerate it a little bit more. I can keep adding layers until I'm totally happy with it. But something I'm going to stop here on this video now and point out that you can now see that this circle has turned into more of a ball and it looks more spherical. You can also tell where my light source is. You can see that I have nice smooth transitions throughout and that I have a multitude of value. There's no fingerprints on here because I made sure to avoid getting the oils of my skin onto the actual ball itself. And with that, hopefully you know what you're doing with your value now and you can achieve that with graphite. Thank you for watching.